All right, let me make a quick announcement, and I think we'll be ready to go ahead here.
Good.
Do you happen to know the link to the... Maybe I should find that real quick. Find our Twitch so that people can actually get a link here. Otherwise, no one will know that we're going. Standing by.
It is UOL stream, all one thing.
r/UOL stream. Or not r.
Twitch.tv.
Yeah, twitch.tv/UOL stream. Alright, I'm gonna have to crate my dog real quick. She is making too much noise. Alright, Cocoa Puff. Yeah, crate. Go eat crate. Good girl. Okie dokie. Looks like we are live. Things are going smoothly. Alright, I'm going to move us back to Untap, and... Oh yeah, let me link this stream. That was what I was going to do.
Linking stream.
All right, hello everyone. This is Kevin Finkel here. I'm here streaming some Untap Open League. This is a standard league, and it's going to be our number 5 match. So I believe that this is a win and in for either of these players to make top 8. What we do with the Untap Open Leagues is that we run free leagues on the Untap system. People can get weekly pairings for competitive matchups, and every week you'll have one match. So they've got, this is our number 5 match here. I'm just trying to find it now. And they're going to be playing for some top 8. Let's see here. Awesome Mr. J is probably not it. Or is it? What are we looking for? Nope. I believe that they've got the game up, so we should be able to find their game, jump into it, and then I'll talk real quick about the matchup here. I may have to check with them, see if it's running.
It is up right now. I think the room name is Awesome Mr. J.
Oh, is it? Okay. I was looking for it. Here we go. Is that who's playing?
Yes, Awesome Mr. J versus Duwan.
Got it. Keeps changing names on me.
10 out of 10.
Alrighty, so I'm going to let me tell him to wait 1 second. Alright, so I'm not the most standard person. I don't know the most about standard. I've been in and out of it a little bit lately. But I do talk a lot. So what I always say whenever I'm streaming is just, if you have anything to say, just go ahead and jump in there, interrupt me. Otherwise, I'll just go bam, 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 keep talking the entire time here. So
Gotcha.
Looking at the 2 decks here. So what we have here is a 4-color Gates deck. Looks like, Gate Colossus, Gatebreaker, Ram, Gates Ablaze, all those sweet gate cards. So he's trying to go long here. He's got some ramp. He's got the Guild Summits for card advantage. I see Hydroid Crassus.
So it's a pretty standard build with Blaze being probably the most important card. It is an ability to trump any card or any deck that's running. If you can get off the Gates of Blaze, you're very likely.
That sounds about right.
So it's a very fun deck to watch, despite the fact that you're running a ridiculous number of tap lands, which usually is something you want to avoid. Read pretty much any mana-based article, untapped source of mana. You get around that with this deck by just really, really powerful, punchy cards, well above what their power level casting costs would be.
Right,
it's
so
just
what do you know about this specific matchup? So on the other side of it, I'm going to go to Mr. J's deck, which is a blue, black, green kind of mid-range deck. So he's got Llanowar Elves, he's got this Explore package of Branch Walker, Wildgrowth Walker, and the Jadelight Ranger. And then he's going all the way up to some big things like Carnage Tyrant, Hydroid Crassus. He's got Chupacabra and Hostage Taker in the middle, some longevity with Fine Finality, and with Vivian Reed and some removal. So gets rid of things, gets to go for a long game. You know, both these players look like they are happy going pretty late. So who do you think that favors here? Do you know how good this matchup is for anyone?
It's actually a pretty decent close matchup. There's really the big thing gets to stick crazy, really decent card, not have answered with either Gates Ablaze, Chupacabra, or a Hostage Taker, or a Vivian Reed. Mr. J does have a lot of advantage. Vivian Reed, Hostage Taker, and Chupacabra as well as the Krasis, but at the same time, Gates Ablaze is a very powerful card. Gatebreaker can get bigger than any that the bug has to throw at it. So it's a very interesting matchup, and there's not really to it like you would normally. It's a very close to a.
Perfect. So it looks like Jaeger gets to play some really big creatures, but Mr. J has better answers. So it's going to be a question of who can get to those bigger things sooner. Now, one last thing before we start. We have Hydroid Crassus on both sides here. How big of a Hydroid Crassus do you think we're going to see here? Like over, under, do you think we'll see one bigger or smaller than 7.5 as X?
I think we could easily or 8 at some, okay, especially from the stack.
I'm taking under there, and we'll see who wins this little bet. All right, I'm going to tell him to go ahead, and we're going to see what the opening hands look like. And then we're going to talk about sideboarding in between the two games here. So I'm going to focus on just the screen here, which is the game going on. And that's where we're going to stick here. So they should be revealing hands here in a moment. All right, looks like a one-lander from Mr. J's side on this first 7.
Very easy mulligan here. A lot of cards. You either have to cast it for a mana, Hostage Taker, Cabra, cards you can cast at or above 4 mana, Hydro. This is very, very.
All right, on the other side, I see a pretty slow hand, but a pretty reasonable one. You know, he can play the Gatebreaker on turn 3 or turn 4, and then work his way up towards one of these Gate Colossi. I think that's probably keep, but I don't know the hand. If he knows that he in a slow matchup, is this a safe keep for him?
Cannot see the hand.
Oh, okay, let's make sure he's got him revealed to you as well.
Second hand from Mr. J looks great.
Yeah, that hand looks very keepable. You know, it'll be slow, but he does want to get to those Carnage Tyrants. They're not a complete trump in this matchup, so Dwayne's not counting on spot removal to take out things. He can get his Gates of Blaze big enough to kill the Carnage Tyrant, as well as being able to trade with it with something like a Gatebreaker Ram gets big enough, and of course the Gate Colossi are already large enough to take care of it. So
they will stonewall Tyrant completely, and I think definitely a reasonable keep. Gatebreaker Ram, double Colossus with 3 is a really, really keep. Yeah, it lets you actually also play on turn 3, which is a really.
All right, so we're going to see that he's going to play this Overgrown Tomb for a shock, get the Llanowar Elves out there right away. Nothing that's an obvious follow-up. You know, he'll be able to play this Branch Walker on the next turn, and then see where he goes from there.
It's definitely I hope I draw sort of a draw, but so now he gets to play a tapped Memorial, Folly, and Branch Walker.
Yeah, you know, that's kind of our first decision point we've seen in this game is he could have gone for a swing and playing his Hinterland Harbor untapped. Instead, he's going with this Branch Walker, of course, and will probably drop either this Memorial to Folly or will drop the Watergrave tapped. I'd expect just the Memorial to Folly because he has an untapped blue if he ever thought it was necessary turn 3 for him.
Yeah, I think it's a really good opportunity to get it out, get around that tap down side, and it's a really good engine for this matchup too, where you can reverse them. And here we're seeing a 4/4 gate.
Yep, 4/4 Vigilance Trample right away. So, you know, coming out strong, and that's something that this gate deck can do. I mean, if anyone's played Limited with this set, I see that a lot. Is, you know, a huge Gatebreaker Ram is just a monster early on. So we've got to see some kind of removal. That was one reason why keeping this Branch Walker on top might be risky, but we're going to see that there. We'll probably see the Branch Walker just come down, and that's going to be it, I expect, for Mr. J's turn.
Very likely. See what top is. It's pretty big pretty big moment where you want to start top decking some good cards, and I'm pretty happy top deck.
It's okay. I mean, he could play the Krasis for like a 3/3 next turn and draw one card. That doesn't feel amazing, but it'll get there eventually. He just, he has to do something about this Ram sooner rather than later.
Yeah, he needs to do something about Ram, but having any kind of a clock that can get above that Ram is also a really good point. And on the other side, there's a Krasis right on time.
We're getting some great draws from Dwayne's side here. So he got the second Ram, which is going to be huge because it means he has a turn 3 and a turn 4. And he could follow up with a turn 5 Gate Colossus with these 4. He'll have 4 reducing the cost, and then he'll be able to play one of these 4/4 mana. So he's really got a good curve out here, which isn't something you'd expect from a deck full of tap lands. So we're getting a lot more aggressive of a start than I think we expected from either side of these matchups.
Gates definitely has, especially with the draw of a multiple, just get in with him on turn 3.
Mm-hmm.
Turn 3 4/4 that grows 5/5 the next. Really good.
All right. Well, let's see what he goes with next.
Maybe for a real life thing. J.
So what are we hoping here from Mr. J's side? So here's the first question. Are we slamming this Krasis?
We definitely are slamming Krasis.
Okay, we're slamming it as a 3/3 here.
As a 3/3, draw you a card. You're looking for another mana source. Get up your Carnage Tyrants in hand, and then having a 3/3 flyer is good. If you hold on to it and hope to top deck a land, you're passing doing nothing, and then if you draw, you have a 4/4 that draws 2, but it's not as impactful. So
okay, so yeah, we're definitely slamming it. Certainly not an 8/8 Krasis, but we'll see
not yet. we can still get there. Still easily get there. We need the other Gatebreaker to come down. Krasis, 2 Carnage Tyrants in a row. Board comes really, really slow and stally. And then build up our land base. And then we're going to get the giant. That's going to be the great.
Now, I mean, we're going to eventually need some kind of stall breaker here. So removal is really going to be the stall breaker, I think, from Mr. J's side. If he can find some way to get rid of some of these Rams, he can probably trade with 1 or 2 of them, but he'll have to find a way to exile these Gate Colossuses, or they're just going to keep coming back.
If he's got Vraska's Contempt, that's the best way to deal with Colossus.
Yeah, he's got 2 Contempt, and that's going to help a lot. So those are really what he's looking for. He's got Vivian Reed. It does get rid of the Gate Colossus, but only temporarily, because it can, get rid of an artifact, which is nice. It can also kill the Krasis, so that will be decent in this matchup.
And on the other side, Gate's a blade card for it will kill pretty much everything on the other side of the up until the Carnage Tyrants, but he's just 2 gates off of being a Carnage Tyrant.
3, I believe. It's a 7/6.
7/6 Gate's blade.
Well,
1 in hand.
The 1 in his hand, I suppose.
Yeah, he needs 3 on the field, 1 of which is in his.
All right, so we're going to see the 1 life, and we're going to see. All right, a card drawn.
Vraska's Contempt.
Yep, that's the
pretty good draw there. Especially if this Colossus that comes down.
Yeah, so it's very scary if he. Well, at least he'll know about the Colossus. The problem is he going to know to try and trade with one of these Rams, or is he going to think, okay, well, I've got a Vraska's Contempt, and then I can work my way to Carnage Tyrant. I don't need to block these. That's really going to be the question here. But 12 coming through. All right, so he's blocking. That's going to be
yield, so triple block.
9 power and what? 8 toughness.
It is 7 toughness, so he's going to get to keep.
Right, so he can take out the Krasis and one of the Branch Walkers.
Yeah, it's definitely still a worthwhile trade to be making with this Gatebreaker Ram, because you're whittling down the defenses by.
Oh, actually, no, hang on. Are all of these 1, 2, 3? Yeah, okay, they're 2 toughness. That's right.
Yeah, they are all 2/1s. Reveals Praise and the other Branch Walker. Actually, Branch Walker revealed Branch Walker. A silly feeling, but it's pretty. And big bad boy Gatebreaker. Guess not break. He's just a Colossus of. He doesn't.
I mean, he can if he wants to. Okay, so here's another really big card, and this I think is just a one of in Mr. J's deck, but it's this Hostage Taker. So this could be useful. You know, it can give him a chance to play one of these Gate Colossus or Gatebreaker Ram. Definitely not as strong on his side, but it's something. Where he really would love to get it is something like this Hydroid Crassus, especially because if the Hostage Taker ends up getting killed, he doesn't get the Crassus back.
It's been a very important piece of tech for the bug going forward from week 1, where Crassus was every. All of a sudden, Hostage became one of the go-to answers. If you do get into a long stally game, you cast their, draw a bunch of cards, break symmetry. Or if they, in a shorter game, you know, you get to kill their Crassus, kill your Hostage Taker. So it's just very good tech.
Yeah, so hopefully here, now we know that he doesn't want to play the Hostage Taker yet. He wants to save it, but okay, good. So he's passing. I assume that means he's planning on the Vraska's Contempt. But if he had, you know, played the Hostage Taker right there, it would have been a pretty greedy play. He'd been playing into something like the Gates Ablaze, which I guess he knew he didn't really have on the board with no red mana. But still, it's a scary thought to lose that and then give him back something big.
Yeah, you don't want to open yourself up to.
So that is a legal play. Yes, he can block that because it's a 3-power creature.
Yep.
But is he going to Vraska's Contempt now? Does he go Vraska's Contempt the unblocked creature?
It looks like that is. So he's trying to draw out into a much longer game to find more answers. Yeah, is what that.
So it means he loses his Branch Walker. It means he doesn't take any damage, which is nice. But the Gatewalker or the Colossus scares me because it can keep coming back. So in a longer game here, being able to exile that might have been very important. And now he doesn't have that chance.
And there's the oof. So here's a $1 million question: do we slam a Hostage Taker, take a Colossus, or do we just slam a Carnage?
I think at this point you kind of need to slam the Hostage Taker. Playing the Carnage Tyrant doesn't feel great because you can't even block and trade with it. Here at least you're going to slow down the opponent, and he won't be he won't be dealing you 16 every turn, which obviously he couldn't take at this point. But it's 8 this turn, and then he needs to find something the next turn.
Hostage Taker barely going to take a turn off this clock. Plaza Harmony, the best gate in the deck. Coming in a nice 4-color gain 2 land, the most anti-shock land.
Definitely a fun card. Alright, so we're going to see the swing for 8 here. Really nothing you can do about it. And then what do you think the follow-up is? Probably just this...
it's Plaza gain 2, Amicrosis, I think. Being able to generate this much card is going to be very, very play. So we got
so the other option...
5/5 Crisis? It's not bad. It's close. Not there yet.
Yeah, his other option would have been to play the land and wait for another turn, but I don't mind this. You know, he'll draw into more action probably. He gets a little bit of life here.
Life, we'll draw 2 birds. Both games. So the reasoning behind playing also, if there is another removal spell for Colossus, you get to get it back with. But
this is a good draw for Mr. J. He's got a cast down. That will get him somewhere. But he still needs to answer, both of those creatures. He had no way to take care of both of them, and that's just that's going to be game.
Yeah, he doesn't have a very good draw from there. I think the draw needs to be almost running removal spells. Some way to generate a 2-for-1, because he loses land or elf on a block while casting down a Crisis. And then so really, your follow-up is...
I'm not sure if he had any outs there, because he would have had to... Either of those creatures would have been lethal.
Yeah, either creature is... You can play cast down, kill the Crisis, block the Colossus. Oh no, it's power 2. He doesn't. It's almost trinket text, not.
No, it comes up a lot. You know, even if he had been able to play the Carnage Tyrant, he couldn't double block and have 8 power to kill it. So a lot of times where it shows up, actually there. All right, so it is between games here. We're going to take a quick look at the sideboard, starting with the losing deck here on the Sultai side. So he's got 4 Duress, 2 Disdainful Stroke, 2 Negate, 2 Cry of the Carnarium, 2 Thrashing Brontodon, a Rascal's Contempt, a Moment of Craving, and Eldest Reborn. So, from
Definitely,
this, what do you like?
Definitely Vraska's Contempt, probably the Disdainful Stroke.
Yeah, those are the ones that really pop out for me. You know, a lot of big things you can Disdainful Stroke here, any of those Crassuses. Rascal's Contempt, like we said, we want to permanently remove some of these threats, as well as being able to answer something like the Ram. The Cast Down are still great, though. You know, they take care of anything temporarily because there's nothing that's legendary. And then, what about this Eldest Reborn? That's the other one that might be interesting to me.
It's an interesting consideration. I don't know that there's enough cards snipe to actually make much use of it, because most of the time gate glosses are going to just pop back to the field with a gate anyway. And, you know, a Gatebreaker Ram is 2/2.
Yeah, it's only a 2/2, which is unfortunate, so it's a lot better for his opponent than
Necrace just dies on entry, so there's actually not too many.
The only other thing I would look at here is these negates, which I'm going to come back to because we're going to discuss the other side of it here. So from the gate side, we've got 3 negate, 2 Rhythm of the Wild, 2 Mass Manipulation, 3 Carnage Tyrant, 3 Banefire, and 2 more Archway Angel, which we didn't see in that first game, but it's the 3/4 that gains 2 life for each gate you control when it enters the battlefield.
I'm definitely interested in Mass.
You're interested in the Archway?
Mass Manipulation.
Oh, Mass Manipulation, yes. That's
I think Archway Angels are...
I could see losing the Angels. I could see losing the Deafening Clarion. I don't know how much, I'm sure he knows the deck a lot better than we do, how much he thinks that this is going to be a race of life totals. If he does, I can see the Clarion staying in because, you know, gaining 8 life off of a Gatebreaker Ram or a Colossus, that's a lot of game.
Yeah.
But on the other side of it, you know, it doesn't kill all that much from Mr. J's side. And he also can probably leave in some number of Gates Ablaze to do the same thing better. So I do really like this Mass Manipulation. I could see playing the Banefire. I could see playing the Negate. I don't love either, but I feel like there's a fair amount he wouldn't hurt to take out, like those Angels, like those Gates Ablaze, maybe, like the Deafening Clarion. So he's got some options here.
We definitely have kept in Deafening Clarion.
All right. So
got that in an opener.
Yeah, we're going to go to
Mr. J here. Mr. J's told me his sideboards are Negates in, Eldest Reborn in, Contempt in, Duress in, sided out Llanowar Elves, Finality, and Hostage Taker.
Interesting. So he didn't like the Hostage Taker, which I thought actually had some usage, you know, especially with those Crassuses. The Duress interests me because there's not that many... Like, the biggest things that worry me from Dwayne's side are those big creatures. So the Duress is going to be interesting. But if it can, you know, slow him down, stop a big sweeper, maybe he just plans to overwhelm him with the early game pressure, and that's going to be his plan here.
It's definitely in there for, I think, is primarily, and then secondarily a card we in the last game, but we see in this opener, the Circuitous Route. Oh, that's not a Wilderness Reclamation, it's a Circuitous Route.
Yes.
I thought that was a Reclamation. Slightly different thing.
Similar art. I can see where they come from, in, you know, same mana cost.
Yeah.
Yeah, that will be important. And he is kind of doubling up on that effect. You know, he's got the Negates, he's got the Duresses. There's potential there for an awkward hand where he has a lot of answers to non-creatures. And if the opponent, you know, has the kind of hand where he just plays Gatebreaker Ram on 3 repeatedly, that's a really tough hand to keep up with that kind of draw. So that's not currently playing out, but it is a risk from what Mr. J took here. So here's where we're seeing a little bit of awkwardness. No turn 3 play, so it's been 3 turns of passing from Dwayne's side, just dropping these tap lands. We're going to see a swing from 3, knocking Dwayne down to 14, and a pass back here with this Vraska's Contempt and Negate open, which is quite nice.
Contempt not open. Mr. J's got a very awkward hand too, because he's missing on double black 2 of his most powerful spells in the matchup.
Yep, so we're just going to see the gate, which he does have an answer for the Gatekeeper Ram for now, so that's one of the few things he can do.
Cast down's very, very Gatebreaker Rams.
So Mr. J is really looking for a land for this Vivian read at some point, but at the same time, being able to hold up in that negate is also nice. So, okay, yeah, here, I like the Jade
Light Ring.
I think anything that's a non-land he has to bin, no matter how good it is. Yeah, bin it right now. Gone. Okay,
so
perfect.
then flip.
So it's not another land, and he's showing that negate, which means that Dwayne's going to be able to play around it a little bit. That's gonna
the question is, do you let him think there's on top and let him know about one negate, because he's also got a negate in hand. So there's the double bluff comes up.
I feel like I would prefer to bin it. Okay, so he's going to keep it on top. It's tough. I would have liked to be able to, get to this Vivian Reed to get the mana for one of these double black creatures, be able to hold them negate. So there's a lot of reasons he needs another land. But I guess he's hoping that, he'll have an aggressive start here and just be able to hopefully counter anything that shows up.
I think the hope is that he gets to untap up a Blaze, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be Deafening Clarion followed up by Gates of Blaze at some later point.
Yeah, he's got the decision to make here. Now, the greedy thing would be go to the Securitas route. I don't think he's going to do that. He's probably just going to go for, I'd say probably...
I think it's Deafening Clarion, yeah.
That's what I was
You use your lower value sweeper, and you don't have to do as much damage to threats there.
So that's tough from Mr. J's side. If he had had the land, he'd have been in a great position there, but with this, he's lost his board. He doesn't have anything he can follow up with. Not one hand in his card. Not one card in his hand is playable other than the negates.
Ooh, Carnage Tyrant. Man, speaking.
Yeah, so the Carnage Tyrants must have come in. I can see where they're good. It's as big as pretty much anything but a giant Crassus from the other side, and it won't be by something like the...
You figure there's more targeting being brought in as well. So it's a very good call for that. Hey, cool, if you're going to bring a target removal, here's my thing that target.
All right, so rather than going for the 2 more lands here, he's going to try and go for this Guild Summit. Now, that is going to be met with a negate.
I think you definitely do.
I mean,
the ability
to do, it's a
draw.
time walk for him, practically.
Yeah, I would never, ever allow that on the field if I can help it. Too bad it wasn't a Revel, which is big.
Yeah, there's some trinket techs on Revel and Riches that if you counter it, you just win the game.
Pretty much. All right, Breeding Pool. I think you shock it here and Vivian.
That seems fine. His other option would be holding the gate, but I don't see a big use in that. There's nothing pressuring the Vivian right now.
So the card advantage start Vivian's very, and there's not a clean answer from the gate deck either. You just have to attack and kill the Vivian at some point.
Yeah, Carnage Tyrant's probably as close as you get. And, actually thinking about it here, I like what Dwayne's line was. So the fact that he went from that Guild Summit, he knew that the negate was in his opponent's hand, and he said, okay, the Guild Summit's less important. He said, I would rather have the Securitas route, get the 2 extra lands in play, get my way to the Carnage Tyrant and the Hydroid Crassus, rather than saying, okay, 1 card draw.
Yeah, I think it's a play up towards your cross spells to get Carnage Tyrant. It's definitely it's forced to some degree, but definitely mean to have to deal with this Vivian up on the other side.
So he's going. Okay, yeah. So he's playing the top land. He's going with the Securitas route. Makes total sense to me.
There's not a lot of value in 2/2 basis with just going, and that's not counting the Chupacabra in playing into that would have been.
You're breaking up a little here. Hopefully people can hear you better than I can.
Oh no.
Now the only other thing that's interesting is that he could have let that Summit through just because Vivian Reed's a pretty clean answer to the Guild Summit.
I think there's better things Vivian.
Yeah, without him knowing that he had another land coming, I'm sure he did make the right play, but it is interesting in this matchup where Vivian Reed can actually answer a lot of things. So it can kill the Gate Colossus, it can kill the Crassus, it can kill the Guild Summit, so it can kind of throw around a lot of power.
Definitely taking up Vivian again. Find a creature this time. Hope.
Yeah, I mean he's got the Merfolk in hand. I don't hate that because
Light Ranger, pretty good one.
It is. He can Jade Light Ranger and still hold up Negate. He can't Jade Light Ranger and hold up the Vraska's Contempt, though, if that is something he was interested in. So let's see. Which
I think is fine. You do have a Chupacabra in hand. Deal with some target removal, and if it's a Colossus, it's pretty good. So top, definitely going to keep the cast down. More in.
Now, what's tough here is that I don't see a very good answer to this Carnage Tyrant that's coming. The Negate's not going to stop it. The Ravenous Chupacabra is not going to stop it.
There's not a very good answer, no. Oh, one mana
No,
Gate
he can drop
Colossus
both of these, yeah.
and 6 mana Carnage Tyrant. This is going to be a depressing fight.
Well, it is, but at the same time, we're going to see the... We're going to drop the Gate Colossus probably with that. Probably with the Contempt. And we'll probably see what Vivian look for Hydroid Crassus, because that's what he has to do.
Vivian's definitely trying Crassus, I think. Or Carnage Tyrant to answer a Carnage Tyrant is pretty fine.
Now, just a Carnage Tyrant... So, okay, probably what he wants to do is tick up. If he gets just a Carnage Tyrant, then he'd be able to block the one Carnage Tyrant and stop the Gate Colossus with this Jade Light Ranger, keeping Vivian alive at 8 loyalty.
Yeah, you also have the chump blocking with the to just stop anything from you want to keep her alive. She's just generating so much.
Yeah, especially, at 8 she could actually ult here, which would be interesting. It would make a lot of his things very, very nasty. I don't see much of a way for Dwayne to get through a Vivian if it's ulted.
It would have to be on the back of something like Carnage Tyrant or
So
Hydro sees where sure your thing is indestructible, but I only.
So this I don't like very much. He's playing the Merfolk without knowing what else is going on. I really would have liked plussing Vivian first. I guess his other option is that he can minus Vivian if he's thinking about that, but I don't see a real reason to do that when he has answers to the Gate Colossus, but doesn't have good answers to this Carnage Tyrant.
And be looks like either a Chupacabra. Chupacabra kill that.
Mm-hmm. Probably
4, 6, 7, 8. So he does actually have an 4 here from Carnage Tyrant.
Yes.
And Gates Ablaze is not a good answer because Carnage Tyrant does die to this.
Mm-hmm. So here, though, we see if he had just plussed Vivian, he'd have been able to play the Carnage Tyrant. And I feel like that's a slightly better position because there wasn't going to be a good way for him to get through that Vivian read.
I would generally... I think plussing... Seeing all of your for a turn, however...
Yeah.
First is usually the way I would try and...
The good news from Awesome J's side is that he's still in a position where he might just be able to win with this Vivian ult. I don't see a way to take care of the board, so he can't just swing through with the Carnage Tyrant. He really needs to hit something that will push him through, and other than a Deafening Clarion off the top, I'm not sure what that is.
It's gotta be something. Not a Deafening Clarion off the top.
Yeah, so what it's going to have to be is, what does he do? Does he just swing in and then hold up negate and hope to be able to fight through this ult with an empty board?
I think you do I think you swing in, you try and trade 3 for 1 and hope you can win through a board with pretty big Krasis coming out.
Yeah, well, he'd be winning through... Yeah, so he's got the Krasis as a, hopefully I can win with this card, but basically what he's going to have to be doing is fighting through a Vivian read with nothing else in play. Or with a... Oh, so he's passing back, it looks like? No, okay. Sorry, I saw some confusion.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we're getting a... That's probably trigger instead of just top.
Yeah, well, let's just make sure what happened here. So they've got a little bit of confusion. He played the gate... Okay,
he played a growth spiral and put a Gate Colossus back on top, triggered, which is legal, but yeah. Mr. J just saw something go for this card on top of the deck. Wait, what?
Yeah, perfectly fine there. Okay, so we've got to see the swing. If he leaves these creatures on the board, he's never going to beat him. He just needs to hope that he can take care of the whole board by, swinging in, trading, and as well as this Vivian Reed dying when it ults, and then he hopes that, Mr. J doesn't play anything else for the rest of the game, basically. Because I don't know how he can play a Krasis big enough to race.
It literally just has to be bigger than Mr. J's, and not likely to happen. Down is in hand, so that is a known fact as well.
Yes.
So you need to bait with cast down, and then cast a Krasis, hope there's not a follow-up play, or hold up and negate, which... Decreasing your Krasis by 2 and decreasing that draw by 1 and gain by 1 is not a great position, but you might have to do it to hold up a negate.
More importantly, a 6/6 Krasis is not even big enough to deal with a 9/8 trample vigilance indestructible hexproof Carnage Tyrant.
Yeah, there's a big Carnage down as well. There's lots of things to be worried about.
All right, so we're going to see the swing. Anything, I absolutely... Triple blocking just seems like the best play. So what could Mr. J be worried about from the other side? So I don't think there's a lot of instants he could be worried about. He could be worried about... No, mass manipulation wouldn't do it. Maybe a Banefire is the only possible thing that could make blocking with triple
one
line. Expansion explosions also maybe a thing. He could do, a couple points of damage to Vivian, enough to stop it from ulting right away. Oh yeah. You misled me here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he only had 6 toughness on the board, which means that even with the block, the Vivian Reed is not going to.
It's not ultimate
this turn.
Getting another turn is do have in giant free gatekeeper loss, and
yeah, it's a
hopefully keeping.
It's a really big thing for Dwayne, but he still is, he's just buying for outs here. What he only has as outs, I believe, are these expansion explosions, because I don't know what else he has that can stop Vivian Reed.
Big price is gonna come down though.
But it's not 7 big.
It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 big. Pretty big.
Mm-hmm.
So drawing 3 cards, gaining 3 life, not as big for matters, but pretty big. Yeah, I'm all in on, let's just play a huge, crazy deal with ultimate.
All right, and what
baby
is he's got this duress here that won't be actually terrible. He's got 2 Rascal Contempt waiting in line. He's got a cast down. A lot of tools here from Mr. J, and I'm not seeing a great answer here.
We know it's a Gate Colossus on top.
It's a Gate Colossus. So he stopped himself.
And you have to kind of at some point do what you got to do. I don't know if there was a good out than a Colossus. Like
his only out would have been not putting the Colossus on top and then maybe drawing expansion explosion. But that only really buys time here, so he was not in a great position. So what we'll see probably is the Gates Ablaze to take care of this Crassus, because he doesn't want a flying jellyfish to be permanently in play there.
You have to take care of what you know about right now. I'll pay a free.
Yeah, and then we'll see a free Gate Colossus and holding up negate.
Hold up a negate.
He did hold up a blue mana.
Yeah, he's got that Simic Gilgate hiding back there.
Looked like the green one for a second.
Oh, he's also got an Azorius Gilgate hiding back there. He's got his blue hidden behind other color. Unfair.
Oh, hey, look, that Eldest Reborn came in. Just what we
were talking about. Eldest Reborn. I guess the question is, do you try and plus 1 more turn?
Ooh,
yeah, so he wants to keep Vivi.
He's getting greedy, but he's got a lot of tools here. I don't love that. He could have just, ulted and played a Ravenous Chupacabra, and then a 4/4 Indestructibles, never really leaving the board.
He might lead on it to try and make sure there's not a Gates Blaze sitting in hand, but it looks like we're just gonna Chupacabra, or maybe nope, Carnage Tyrant first.
Ooh,
or Eldest Reborn?
This is bad for Mr. J. He's got a negate waiting on the other side. So if he's trying to go with Carnage Tyrant plus... Oh, wait, we're starting with a duress.
We lead on the duress. We make the good play. Float 5. Baiting the comment. What Mr. plan.
Yeah, so he's got to negate this. It doesn't feel good, but nothing else.
I mean, it's going to get taken away.
So now, what can he actually... Okay, so he's going with Eldest Reborn as the follow-up. That's not the worst in the world.
So he's got Eldest Reborn, holding up either negate or a cast down. Ultimate next turn drop, Carnage Tyrant, Ravenous Chupacabra.
I do like that. So we were worried about the possibility of him picking up an expansion explosion, and that really shuts that line down.
Yeah, there's not a lot of outs left here. If there are any, I'm not...
No, I think the expansion explosion was the only one I was thinking of.
Forest is not an out.
Ooh,
Forest,
we're gonna see a 7 mana Crassus, but that's still not above 7.
yeah. We're gonna see a giant cast down,
Yeah, crash down with
ultimate Vivian, and probably
probably follow up with a Carnage Tyrant. If he can do it, maybe he'll go with the Jade Light Ranger first, hit a land, play Carnage Tyrant as well.
negate the preemptive negate. You
Oh, he thought it was the expansion explosion, probably. So.
whoops. Cast down. That's the
Cast
right
down.
one.
Yep.
Probably should wait before we thought it was explosion. So
yeah, he was playing to his outs there, and Mr. J knew it as well, which is pretty interesting. Good to see that he's doing his research, following the opponent's deck list. So that is something, if anyone is viewing and isn't used to our streams, we do have public deck lists in these leagues, because otherwise it would give unfair advantages to people who are on stream showing off their whole deck, and then other people could deck tech against them. We want people to be able to see what's going on. So we'll see a draw for 3. He's already played a land. Just gonna sit here. He'll discard something to Eldest Reborn.
yeah, probably Plaza, and yeah, I hope your double this route is good enough to make a giant. I mean,
something in the future.
So here's Vivian.
Yeah,
I think it's the first time I've ever seen one in play.
Oh, it does some good things. So not only is Vivian going to stick around, but so not only do we have this old, but Vivian's also sticking around, which means that even something like a big Crassus isn't really going to do the trick. So here's a 9/8 indestructible Carnage Tyrant.
Vigilance.
Vigilance too, of course. And we're gonna see, is he gonna shock himself? So no, he doesn't think it's important to get that clock, play a Jade Light Ranger. He thinks that Carnage Tyrant's still a 2-turn clock no matter what.
Still holding up the gate. I think that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, GG's on.
All right, so let's go to game 3, I guess. There's still a lot of big plays. We didn't see anything like that Mass Manipulation, which is such a big card from Dwayne's
It
side.
would have been. That's another out. Dealing Vivian.
Is that creature or planeswalker? I thought that one was just creature.
I believe Mass Manipulation.
Let's do a Google.
And or planeswalkers.
All right. You beat me to it. Okay, good. Yeah, I don't play with that much standard, obviously.
It's been one of the decks I run on Arena, which is mono blue.
Right.
You can either play that or the Entrancing Melody as your ways to get around a giant Crassus. Okay, cool, you play a giant. Steal that.
Entrancing Melody is nice because you can cast it for 4 mana and take the Crassus.
Entrancing
Melody is also a little bit better against stuff that's aggressive, whereas you only really want the Mass Manipulation when you're playing it for 2-3 creatures, so that's more of a mid-range or control matchup card. Yeah, more mid-range, really.
It's really a pretty big, and I definitely really nice to steal it. Let's see, we've got a couple swap from Duang. I'm not entirely sure what we got swapped out. Maybe after seeing a Vivian tick up in his face, thought, hey, Mass Manipulation would be pretty okay.
He could have been live there if he had the Banefires in play.
Banefires, yeah. Uncounter that.
Alright, so let's see these hands here. Looks like we already got a mulligan to 6 from Mr. J's side.
Something he wanted. This second one, ooh. That's a tough week for ship. Land number 3 into Daylight.
For Duang, I like that. I actually do really like that because he's going to have an early summit and he's going to have this growth spiral to get him there somewhere pretty quickly.
So I made this a turn 1 land. Yeah, specifically that you'll get turn 2 island growth
spiral. Turn 3 guild summit, play a land and draw a card off of it.
Or a plaza into something else, or like there's a lot of this week.
Oh, but duress will. Ooh, so what does he take here with this duress?
I think you take the growth spiral.
You think take the growth spiral?
Maybe. Let's see, it's either growth spiral. There's
Probably the summit, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
He
So
doesn't have an immediate answer to the summit, like a negate or the 5
yeah.
mana for Vivian Reed, so he doesn't want him drawing 3-4 cards throughout the game here, which is what could happen otherwise.
Turn to I think you just go business.
So firing it off now, I guess he's trying to play around negate. I don't think negate was likely, but that's what he's going with.
There's not really much
and I'd
in the
expect he
whole
plays
play.
So I was going to say he should probably play this Azorius Guildgate because it's revealed. Instead, he's going with one of his non-revealed Guildgates, so that's going to be interesting. It also, you do have to think about it with this deck because there's not very many untapped lands. When he has red, he's got to play it. When he's got white, he probably could have played it. So now he doesn't have white. No, he's got white available. These Guildgate arts are, they're not quite the right color to be what you'd think they would be.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Plus harmony.
So from Mr. J's side, he's got this Wild Growth Walker, but he doesn't have a second green, so he's really hoping for like a forest or an overgrown tomb off the top. Being able to play this Jade Light Ranger would be a quite fast clock. Otherwise, he's going to be dirtling for a while.
For a pretty long. That is unfortunate draw. Play the Memorial. And, I mean, you get in with Wild Growth Walker here, you get to cast down a...
Yeah,
that's not a fast clock.
He knows the 8/8's coming. He knows it's probably coming this turn, depending on what.
Ooh, okay. So on the blind, do you fare off a guild? The answer is yes.
Yeah.
The answer is yes.
You'll be happy to take the 2 cards, and you're expecting it's probably not another negate. Yeah, it looks like. All right, so it enters the battlefield. He has a chance now to tap any number of untapped gates he has. Ooh, he did not tap his other gate.
That's interesting.
I'm assuming that's just a misplay. Maybe he doesn't know the card that well. Normally what you see is you play a gate, you draw a card. People kind of forget about the tapping all the other gates you have.
Make it a giant X draw spell, essentially. Mm-hmm. Alright, so we actually have an alert creature here.
Yep.
Merfolk Branchwalker coming.
Can maybe get him closer to another land as well, so that's what's nice about it. Yeah. So
Long just realized. No point in holding. I don't think Dispel.
Ooh, so this is a very tough choice. Branchwalker on top. Yeah, I think that's got to be the hardest decision in the deck.
This is a very hard decision.
That wasn't a land I would automatically be throwing into the graveyard. With this Branchwalker, he's got to think about it. So he can think, okay, I've got 5 damage in play. I could play another one next turn, be able to swing for 6. Is that good enough? Is that good enough when you know that the opponent's going to be dropping a Gate Colossus that you have to be able to cast down that turn? With that in mind, I'd probably say no, bin it. You'd want to be able to double spell next turn, and you can't do that. But, there's no real easy answer here. So I'm very interested to see what Mr. J does in this position.
Greed or bust, he says.
All right, so he's keeping it on top. He's
boy.
That, he swings 2 here. He can hopefully swing for 6 next turn. So the real tough question is, what do you do next turn? Do you play the Merfolk Branchwalker and hope you hit another land? Because that seems really, really greedy.
I believe that is why he said greed or bust. We're on that greed life.
Well, he can keep it on top and then just, cast down the Gate Colossus that he's expecting. The real greed play is if next turn he goes, okay, I'm going to play another Branchwalker, and then I have to hit a land untapped to cast down, otherwise I just can't swing. That would be the greedy part.
I'm pretty sure that's how greed is going. Unfortunately, Gate Colossus, not going to be the... It is a Carnage Tyrant, which is much better against target removal. Yes. I see.
And this is where we were talking about, you were a little bit unsure about the Eldest Reborn, but I think with Carnage Tyrant, he's going to be happy if he can maybe hit that Eldest Reborn at some point.
We don't play that. We don't play that game. That is easy, Ben. Pass back, and you're going to take a pretty big wallop.
Well, I don't hate trading 2 Branchwalkers for this Carnage Tyrant. Or alternately, he could trade...
He needs to...
Yeah, he
can't...
Yeah, if he blocks the Wild Growth Walker, he'd lose that and a Branchwalker, so he's better off just trading the 2 Branchwalkers.
I would much rather trade the 2 Branchwalker.
And it's nice
Every
knowing,
single.
from Dwayne's deck, there's not a lot of instant speed interaction. So the only thing he'd have to be playing around is those expansion explosions, which could be a big blowout, except the fact that there's no red on that side of the board.
There's absolutely no red. Don't have to play around anything.
So you know everything that's going on. You know that there's no surprises.
Whoa. Okay, we got a triple block decide what.
So he's playing around stuff that doesn't exist there, but that means that he loses. Okay, so he took both branch walkers anyways. So.
Oh, wait, yeah, that was very poorly communicated. That died. That was
yeah.
Okay. So we have a branch walker with one counter. We all right, communication.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like that play from Mr. J. I think that the 3/5 is probably a more important card at that point in time.
If you get to untap, yeah, big punish. Don't have Wild Growth Walker.
Mm-hmm. Now, why did he? I'm more surprised that he played this Gate Colossus.
We had a big misclick somewhere along.
What did he spend mana on? So he played the Gate Colossus for what?
For I think.
I mean, it should have been one, or it should have been what? 2 mana?
It should have been 3, probably. Or no, it's a 4 gate. Mind, not a
right. The plaza is not a gate. That's
it is an honorary vest gate. Not
done though. Did he have enough mana that he could have played the circuitous route and then played the Colossus? I believe that he did. So he could have gone 1, 2, 3, 4, and then he'd have had 6 gates in play and been able to play the Colossus as well. So I think that was a bit of a misplay, and he's doing the same misplay again here.
Well, I think the other fits his contempt.
Drawing. Okay, never mind.
I think the good if the removal spell used on a Colossus or on a Gate Colossus rather keep wanting to make it a breaker. That's the ram. But if it is not a empty Colossus, then your Circuitous guaranteed gets it.
Yeah. So I would have liked the Circuitous route first, I think.
Ooh, I love this. So we play Circus route and then Growth Spiral and get or nearly.
Well, he's already going to be able to. So when he puts a gate into play, he'll trigger the Gate Colossus first, put it on top, and then draw a card from Guild Summit. Now, this negate is big here. It means that he's not going to be able to just draw 2 cards, put 2 lands into play, draw the Gate Colossus, etc., etc. But
ooh, Growth Spiral. If he hits negate, puts in Plaza.
But nope, he doesn't have it, so it's just going to be like you play the Gateway Plaza.
Played the Plaza of Harmony. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure why.
I mean, he can hard play it as well.
Yeah, Deafening Clearance actually. Even if the Ranger gets 2 on it.
Interestingly, he didn't play the Guild Summit. He just left it in hand. Maybe he's trying to hold up some information here, trying to bluff something because he's in a little bit of a tough spot. He needs 1 land to really turn it around, but without that, he's struggling.
Vraska's top is also a really good answer. That Gate Colossus when it comes back.
Yes, we need 2 threats to come out of Dwayne's side, or he's going to be in trouble here. That's starting to tick away with those 3 damage a turn, and now he's got 7. He's got a 2-turn clock if nothing else shows up. Of course, we know this Clarion. Oh, that's exactly what he needed here. So he didn't have red for this Clarion, but
that is true.
Playing the Izzet Guild Gate draws him the Colossus, and he gets to Clarion because these Plaza of Harmony now are going to be able to tap for red.
Yeah, so this is 2. We need 3 mana for a Colossus. This 3 mana is for a Deafening Clarion. Yep. Wipe out your board. Colossus, I mean, is going to be answered. That is unfortunate.
Yeah, I assume he still has to slam it. There's not a big reason to just wait.
Yeah, I think you may.
So, with Guild Summit in play, he still probably feels like he's just gonna, pass the turn.
Jade Light number 2.
Yeah, gives him a chance to find some new danger. Hopefully find a land for Mr. J, because he would love to be able to slam this Vivian, get rid of that guild summit that's doing so much work.
Yeah, he would love to slam Vivian, and even not even necessarily rid of the guild gate. Maybe you want a plus.
This Izzet Guildgate was such a huge draw here. Like, we were just thinking, like, oh man, it's over for Mr. J's side. He's got a great spot, but really turned it around. He got that draw. He's got the guild, or the gate Colossus back in hand. Yeah, like you said, all these names are a little bit too similar here.
Yeah, there's a lot of tricky
gate, guild, giddly, got goodly.
There's thousands of guild gate Colossus, gate break, Plaza of Harmony, gate summit, gates ablaze.
All right, so another land. You know, it's a redraw. Feels great in this kind of play. Just gonna hit a land here. I mean, what can he do? I don't see any reason not to play the Gate Colossus.
Yeah, you have to
in here.
The face.
You know, at the very least, it means that Mr. J has to take his turn off to answer it, which is why I think it would have been smarter the turn before.
Yeah, I mean, forcing it been my line of play. If you know that there's hard answer going at some point, I'm jumping into it pretty much as early.
Yeah, so if he didn't play the first time, I guess it makes sense not to play the second time. But what's awkward there is that, like, if he had played the first time, then he wouldn't be able to slam the Jade Knight Ranger.
Yeah, and now he's in a really bad spot because, hey, here's the Vivian, eat your enchant, and now when you play the Colossus anyway,
it's still going to get killed.
It's still going to get.
So
it wouldn't have affected.
He needs a redraw here. So actually, another guild summit would be great.
Ooh, I actually like the Ram's pretty good.
So Gatebreaker Ram it'll play. You know, he can play both creatures here, so he's got a board. But yeah, if Mr. J hits a land though, he could still answer both of them, and then you're kind of just donezo. And with Vivian Reed, it's not going to be hard to hit a land. You know, any land in the top 5 would do it.
Yeah, so it's Gatebreaker Ram. It's still going to be answered by the cast down that's about end, but it's another threat. And now you're saying, hey, cool, you know, I've got like 2 threats in a row. So yeah, you know, now it is a top.
I think the thing he wanted most was a Hydroid Crassus, but I think that any kind of threat is what he was looking for exactly.
I think a really is 1, 2, right, so 5, 6, 7, 8. If he draws a Krasis, we get that 8.
Oh, yes, that's very true. All right, so we're gonna see a Vivian Reed picking up, finds another tap land. I like that. He's gonna, you know, but the fact that he did it first, he didn't slam this Watery Grave. He got a little more information. He played to the fact that he could have drawn an untapped land and not have to shock. But he's gonna shock. We're gonna see the cast down on the Gatebreaker Ram and the Wrestling Attempt on the Gate Colossus. Yes, I want to make sure he did that right, because if he did it the other way around, it would have been much worse for him.
Yeah, would have been very. So
we're 2 life right back actually that he just lost from his. So 1 land in both players' hands. That's good, but the bad news is nothing going on board for Dwang.
Yeah, he's definitely digging for something, and here pretty soon, Mr. J can also just hold up the Memorial and pop the Krasis in his graveyard back into his and just take.
Yeah, so that's part of the advantage of this Explore package is he was able to bin this Krasis early on, and it's going to be quite powerful later.
Yeah, I'm very willing to trade a land. 1, 2, 3, 4 Krasis is still fine. 4/4 draw 2, really good on this. Vivian is a card.
Yeah, as well. Vivian's helping find some more gas.
Can't imagine what have the uncapped except.
So they're just thinking, but yeah, he's been holding up these lands. He doesn't think there's any real reason to play them. I don't like holding the Breeding Pool. I think that because it's a tap land, because he has 2 lands in hand. You know, if he draws the big Krasis off the top, he wants to get as much value as possible. So I don't like holding the 2 lands for hidden information. I wouldn't have minded him holding just the 1.
I don't know what he's doing math.
So. No, I don't know. Maybe he's just counting number of lands that he could bring back, like a Jade Light Ranger or something. But no, I don't really know.
Yeah, you just play this out. You hold up Memorial. Hold.
Yep, he's holding.
Gonna bring back a
like
creature.
this. Did he plus Vivian yet for the turn?
He did, but he didn't draw.
Ooh, that's tough.
So, a little bit of error here. Yeah, this should.
Wait, did he not draw for the turn?
Yeah, he didn't draw for the turn.
We do need to actually hang on. We need to have him draw that card because that.
I think he's probably going to win here.
Let me just. I'm still going to just quick judge.
Pass the turn back. Modify. Big, basic turn order. Untap, upkeep, draw, then main one where you may activate Planeswalkers. Overgrown Tomb, draw. Yeah, he really didn't need it. So it's not too like I don't think it would. Warning number 1.
I don't think it will probably come up, but yes, that is an important thing. It's not an optional choice. It's not a trigger that you can miss to draw your card for the turn.
Yeah, you. So this EOT we're cracking.
So probably what he was thinking math-wise is whether bringing back a Jade Light Ranger is enough to make the current board that he has lethal. And let's do the math for him here.
1, the answer is no.
4, 5, 6. So no. The answer would have been no. Is that wouldn't have been enough? So he's going to say, okay, I'll grab the Crassus instead. But
fully support.
Sees a negate.
Value time says, I'm pretty sure what you tick up Vivian, slam a land, play a big, play a different Crassus. So
I really don't like that Dwayne is holding up these lands here. I mean, I think he's kind of given up at this point. But
yeah,
there's not value in holding 3 lands in your hand.
There's not.
Just the one is hidden information. His opponent currently thinks he has a negate, but holding up 3 doesn't do anything for you. And when you've got cards that are X mana cost, it doesn't hurt to be able to play them. So actually he's live here.
He's
live off the top. He can draw the what
Gates of Blaze.
No, the Mass Manipulation.
Or Mass Manipulation. I mean, either one. It's really Gates of Blaze at least and board as well. So he has multiple.
Yeah, so Mass Manipulation off the top could grab the Crassus, the Jade Light Ranger, and Vivian. If he'd been playing these lands, it could have grabbed all 4.
He could have grabbed a lot. It's definitely, I think it's definitely, especially on this Cement Guild game, there's no reason to just hold up a tap.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can see holding a gate maybe with Summit, but even that's not really true when they, you can get advantage for the ones that are in play.
Yeah.
But the real weird part, is not playing any of these lands sooner. So he's just going to play a tap land, pass.
Last turn, Circuitous Route is not it.
Route. Can't even find anything to gain life there, so that's just going to be the game.
Yeah,
and more importantly, it means that we did not have a Hydroid Crassus for more than 7.
We did not. We had opportunity, but it never came.
Yeah, even if we pass back here, he's only got the 6 lands. He's not going to get there with it. So there it is. That is round number 5 of Standard UOL League, going to Mr. J here.
I think you played it pretty well overall. Mine missing draw.
Yeah, and I think we saw both decks kind of do what they wanted to do. We got to see removal being the real player as the difference in the two. We got to see both decks going quite large with some big creatures. But Vivian Reed was an excellent stall breaker here.
She's definitely a good card in these kind of long, grindy, mid-rangey deck fights where they're just trying to get little eking advantages that add up over time. She is a huge advantage that stacks up very.
The card selection is what's so nice. So I mean, even just a 5-mana walker that draws a card wouldn't be doing the same kind of thing because he's specifically being able to dig for something like a Ravenous Chupacabra or a Crassus.
Yeah, you're digging for cards, which is advantage itself, and your cards are all the creatures basically are all card advantage. Most of them, either in pure cards or quality. So it's a really, really tight that comes together with this. I mean, it's one of the most mid-rangey decks that stand while it's got everything. Oh, the mass manipulation!
Oh, we talked about it. It was so close.
Oh, so close. That would have been such a blowout.
Yeah.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Well, I think that means that Mr. J is going to be moving on to top 8. I do not know if Dwayne is live. I haven't been following their breakers there. But for anyone out there who's watching, this is Untap Open League. Feel free to follow us on Twitch to get more matches like this. Join us on the Discord to see what's all going on and to join in yourself.
We have leagues for pretty much every single standard.
Yeah, so we've got
Modern, Frontier, Legacy, Vintage, Pauper. Yeah, we've got going on, and it's a really active community. There's always people on there chatting, either about the leagues going on, about general state of it. Really feel free to drop it. Yeah, it's very open, welcome.
It's well moderated. We've got Untapped staff actually on the Discord, so you can ask them questions. But yeah, that's I'm Kevin Finkel. I'm gonna call it a night here.
My name's Glass Ninja and Coquette.
Thank you for joining me, and that's our show.